Hello. Let's talk about Moonwells. So, recently I was streaming a couple of games, and one of my viewers asked me, hey, in that game against the Orc player, you went for 3 Moonwells instead of your usual 2. Why'd you do that? I don't really understand. So, I've actually loaded up that replay right here, and we can talk a little bit about the decision making that at least goes into my mind when I decide whether or not I want to do a 2 Moonwell or a 3 Moonwell tech. So, the baseline for me is always a 2 Moonwell tech. Going into a game, mentally, I'm always thinking, I'm going to do a 2 Moonwell tech. So that's a 21 food tech with 2 Moonwells, very, very standard. It's the most efficient tech build order you can have as Night Elf. So that's always the baseline. That's what I go into the game thinking that I'm going to do. Now, getting this 3rd Moonwell, for me at least, is almost always a response to what I scout. There's one other situation where it doesn't really matter what I scout, I'll still get the 3rd Moonwell, and that is if I want to creep something really big and tank the damage with my hero. Say I have this Demon Hunter here, I Ancient War creep something, and then the next spot that I creep, I'll be tanking the damage, and it's a pretty big spot, so I'll go down to red HP, I'll just barely survive it, but I will kill the creeps, get the items, and run back. I'll get 3 Moonwells just to be able to fully heal my Demon Hunter, or my whatever hero I picked. 2 Moonwells will not be enough, so I'll get 3. So that's the only situation where it doesn't really matter what my opponent's doing. It's just something that I've actively chosen to do in a response to what I'm creeping. But in a game like this, the decision to go for a 3rd Moonwell is entirely based on what my Scout Wisp tells me. So my Scout Wisp has the ability to change my mind. I'm thinking 2 Moonwell tech, but my Scout Wisp sees something and says, no, you got to get that 3rd Moonwell. And in this situation, in this game, what I saw was 2 burrows. I saw my Orc opponent getting 2 burrows, which is actually pretty uncommon. Most Orcs will go for a 1 burrow tech, that's the standard build order, and if your opponent's going for a 1 burrow tech, that means, well, they're going to have a 1 grunt for a long time. They're not going to get any more than that. And just the 1 grunt, that's very, very low aggression, potentially very low aggression, so I don't need to worry anything about that. I'll do a 2 Moonwell tech, but with a 2 burrow opener, there could be 2 or 3 grunts in my main any time now, and I have to be very, very aware of that situation. So that's why, as a response, I'll get the 3rd Moonwell. So in this case, I've scouted aggression or potential aggression, and I've responded to it with an additional Moonwell. You can even get a 4th Moonwell if you feel, very threatened. Depending also on how many archers you want to make. So against an Orc opponent, you don't really want to make too many archers a lot of the time, so you can definitely get a 4th Moonwell even before attacking if you just want to be able to survive. Because the 3rd Moonwell, what it does is it gives you more healing, of course, but it also gives you a bit more time to build extra wisps, which can be very, very comfortable, because if you lose your Scout Wisp, if you get harassed and you lose a couple of wisps because you kind of miss micro, well, you've had an additional extra wisps built, so once you reach tier 2, you can still get all the structures up and get your 2nd hero without it affecting you too much. Whereas with a 21 food tech, you can't really afford to lose a single wisp ideally. So the aggression that I would scout for would be the following. So 2 burrows from Orc, 2 Ziggurats from Undead, a ghoul build, a Huntress build from Night Elf. I want to get that 3rd Moonwell as well. Against Human, there's really no build that can get me to build a 3rd Moonwell, except for if I very quickly scout my opponent and see they're doing a Tavern build. A Human Tavern build a lot of times means there's going to be a Tinker Tower Rush or something like that, so you probably want to get that 3rd Moonwell. Otherwise, against Human, there's really no reason to get a 3rd Moonwell, unless you fear that your opponent's going to be very, very harass-centric. He wants to right-click your wisps, and you're kind of worried that you're going to lose too many. You might want to get that 3rd Moonwell just to get that extra wisp production up. So that's what I think about when I decide whether or not to go for 2 or 3 Moonwells. There's a caveat to this, which is if you don't do a perfect 2 Moonwell build order, then it doesn't actually matter. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you're doing a 2 Moonwell build order, a 21 food tech, and you kind of forget your 2nd Moonwell, or you don't have the perfect wisp production, you forget to build a couple of wisps for a couple of seconds, at that point, you can just as well get a 3rd Moonwell and tech at about the same time. The tech advantage of 2 Moonwells is actually very minimal, and it only kicks in if you do a perfect build order. So if you're a new player, I definitely would recommend just going for 3 Moonwells. The tech difference is not that big. It gives you a lot more room for error. You don't have to have the perfect build order for it to work. So it's a great, I think, beginner build order, whereas the 2 Moonwell tech, it requires more mechanical perfection to really pull it off perfectly. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little discussion about Moonwells, whether you want to tech it with 2 or 3. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.